What if I told you you could buy real estate without touching any of your own money, using business credit cards and business lines of credit? By the end of this video, I'm going to show you step by step how I use business credit to buy real estate and break down the key lessons that I learned throughout the process. Whether you're looking to fund your first deal, cover renovation costs, or even just secure your down payment, this strategy might be your cheat code. So with that being said, let's get into it. Most people think you need a great job, perfect credit, or hundreds of thousands of dollars saved in order to get into real estate. But what they don't know is that you can use business credit to do things like renovate properties, cover hard money loan costs, pay for down payments, and fund your closing costs, all without ever touching your personal money. The key is understanding how to strategically use business credit cards and business lines of credit. So here's how it works. Business lines of credit already give you access to cash, so you can draw from them instantly, just like pulling money from a bank account. But if you're working with business credit cards, the first step is to liquidate them. In other words, convert that available credit into spendable cash that you can use for real estate deals. This process is called credit card liquidation. It lets you move the available credit from your business credit cards directly into your business checking account. But don't confuse this with a cash advance, because they're completely different. Liquidation allows you to access large amounts of funding without the high fees and interest that come with cash advances. If you want a step-by-step breakdown of how liquidation works, grab our free business funding guide. The link will be in the description below. Now moving on, once the funds hit your account, don't touch them just yet. There's a strategy behind the timing, and here's why. Most lenders want to see at least 3 months of bank statements before approving you for a mortgage. They want to know that you've had that money sitting for a while, not that you just moved it around yesterday. Step 2 is get pre-approved. So once the money's been sitting for a few months, go ahead and get pre-approved by a lender. When I went through this myself, they asked for things like 2 years of tax returns, recent bank statements, and they also pulled my credit. And here's a tip, always shop around. Different lenders offer different rates and terms, and credit unions especially tend to have lower rates and more flexible options than big banks. And you're gonna need a pre-approval letter to start making serious offers anyway. So get this knocked out early. Step 3 is make sure you find a great deal. So the next step is that you wanna start shopping for a property. But here's the key, don't just buy anything. Look for off-market deals, properties with less competition that you can get at a great discount. So I recommend working with a wholesaler or an investor-friendly real estate agent who knows how to source undervalued deals, because in this game, you make your money on the buy. Step 4 is using your business credit to fund the deal. So once you find the right property and your offer gets accepted, here's where the business credit comes into play. Use your business lines of credit or liquidated credit card funds to cover the earnest money deposit, your down payment, closing costs, and if you have extra credit left over, you can use that to cover your renovations as well. Step 5 will be your exit strategy. So this can be a cash out refinance, a property sale, or you can even get a HELOC. So after you close and complete the rehab, you've got those 3 options. The first is the cash out refinance. So with this strategy, you get to keep the property, but you can pull your money out and you can pay off your credit lines. Number 2 is just selling the property for a profit. Number 3 is getting a home equity line of credit, also known as a HELOC. And using this strategy allows you to also continue to keep the property and rent it out. But this is how you keep your capital in rotation and repeat the process over and over again. Now let's talk about why business credit is the best move. The first thing is that it does not report to your personal credit. As long as you don't miss any payments or anything, you don't have to worry about it popping up on your personal credit. So whenever you have high balances on the credit lines, that utilization will not show on your personal credit at all. And another plus is that a lot of business credit cards come with a 0% interest period that can range between 6 but all the way up to 18 months. So the monthly payments on this money is extremely low. That means you have time to deploy capital, flip, refi, or access that equity in the property through a HELOC without paying any interest up front. But listen, worst case scenario, always make sure that you bought the property right and you have enough equity that if you had to sell, you'd still walk away with a great profit. So the key is don't over leverage, be smart, and always run your numbers. Now you might be wondering, is this theory or has he actually done this? So let me break down my experience for you. When I bought my first property at 20 years old, I did not have a playbook. I was figuring it out as I went, making mistakes, taking risks, but I was determined to make it happen. My plan was to buy a property for 3% down, live in it for a year, and then rent it out. So at the time, I already had great credit, got pre-approved, and I had some cash saved up. So I made offers on a few properties listed at retail price on the market. One of those offers got accepted, and that's when reality hit. We had 3 weeks to come up with $15,000 for down payment and closing costs. And we also just put in a 30-day notice on the rental that we were living in at the time. So it had to work. There was no other option. So I didn't have the full amount in cash. cash or access to business credit lines yet. So I took a risk and liquidated a personal credit card and timed it just right so it wouldn't report to my personal credit before the closing date. And I kid you not, I got this idea, ran with it, and 30 days later, we were closing on our first property at 20 years old. But even though it worked, here's the truth. Using personal credit at that time was very risky. If the timing had been off even by a little bit, we could have lost the deal entirely. Plus, because the property was listed on the market, we ended up overpaying. I didn't fully understand how to analyze the numbers at the time. It looked great on the outside, but financially, it just didn't make sense as a cash flowing rental. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that experience for anything because it taught me something powerful. The first lesson was that you don't need to have it all figured out in order to take the first step. And the second lesson is that you just need the courage to move and the wisdom to learn. If I could do it all over again, I'd follow the exact steps that I laid out in the beginning of this video. But even with the mistakes, that first deal changed everything for me. It showed me what's possible when you're committed. So if you're watching this and you're on the edge, thinking about starting, thinking about buying your first property, let me be proof that you don't need to be perfect. You simply just need to start. So if you're ready to start buying real estate using business credit, I want to help you get your funding in place the right way. So click the video in the description below to get our help with accessing business funding, or grab my free guide on how to get approved for business funding. Also, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment if you want me to break down the exact liquidation process in the next video. Remember, you don't need to be rich to buy real estate. You just need to be resourceful. With that being said, my name is Jalil Nash, and I'll see you guys in the next one.